As a salesperson who has done all the training and knows exactly what to do on these calls, why is it still so hard to actually do those things in the moment on the call? This is actually way more common than what most people think. And so it's been coming up a lot here recently. I thought I would take a few minutes to speak to why this is happening and what you can do about it. When we get into sales, when we get into a new role, we get hired at a new job, new offer, we're provided with sales training, right? And this is all the external stuff. This is the scripts, the frameworks, the ways of handling objections, et cetera, et cetera. And so we get to work consuming all this information, memorizing it, practicing, doing role plays, hopping on calls, et cetera, et cetera. And we can know intellectually exactly what we need to do, but then in the moment, when there's actual real money on the line, or there's a new objection that comes up that we weren't quite ready for, or whatever it is, the resistance bubbles up, something goes wrong, and we end up losing deals. And then we spend time after the fact thinking, man, I knew what I needed to do there. Why didn't I do it? Why did I act like that? Why did I handle that way? The problem here is that there's a gap. There's a gap between your identity, who you believe yourself to be on the inside, and the external actions that you're taking. If you don't truly believe or have the identity of a successful salesperson who's making X amount of money per month, then you're never going to be that, no matter how many of those actions that you take externally. That gap between the things that you're doing and who you are, that's where the shadow rep lives. That's where all the resistance lives. That's where the old programming lives. So our goal here is to minimize that gap and eliminate it. Now, you can't just eliminate that gap through learning more scripts, adding more sales training on top of training. Even though that's what most people do, they'll go out and hire coaches or mentors or buy courses and programs, they'll read books, and they're just stacking more things on top of a shaky foundation. This is why I focus so much on the identity work with the people that I work with and in my own career. Early on, when I first got into sales, I had no idea that this was a thing, and I didn't realize it at the time, but I had all kinds of limiting beliefs around money, around myself, around sales. I did not have the identity of a salesperson, and so I just came in and I tried to work harder than everybody else. I made more phone calls, I had more conversations, I spent more time role playing and memorizing things, and it worked for a little while. I saw some initial success, but very quickly I realized that that gap that I was operating with is the quickest way to burn out. Because every time you're taking actions that are not in alignment with who you are, who you believe yourself to be, that leaks energy, creates resistance that you have to constantly be overcoming. And sure enough, before long, my health started to take a hit, my relationships started to take a hit, and I had to figure this out on my own because traditional sales training didn't have any answers. The job that I was on, they're not going to help you with identity work. Now this is changing, luckily, and people are starting to wake up to this, but this is why it's so important. Now, if you are in a position where you're not really worried about making consistent money or sustainable money, and you're okay with you're in this mode of just grind, and hustle, that's great. Come back to this video once you've experienced the burnout for yourself. But until then, start focusing on the other half of things. Before you go buy another sales book or sign up for another course or hire another coach, start doing the identity work. Find someone to help you with this. If you have a guide that can help you really install the right identity or belief system or eliminate limiting beliefs that are getting in your way, it'll just help things exponentially. I made a free tool that you can use to get started with this process. I'll link it below. It'll just take you a few minutes, and I'll start giving you an idea of where that gap is and how to close it. So just remember that until this is addressed, everything that you do is going to be a little bit harder than it needs to be. When you come into alignment with the actions that you're taking, when you actually have the identity of someone who is successful in this industry consistently, making 10K, 20K, 30K months, whatever your goal is, when that is the place that you're operating from, and that is who you are, the actions that you take to get there are going to feel easy. It's almost going to feel like cheating because you don't have the resistance of that gap holding you back anymore. So check out the tool. Let me know what you think. Reach out. I'm here if you need any help. Peace.